I just don't even know what to say, man. That's insane. That's the one deer I was in here after. Whew.
It's be a tough one to swallow. Here we are. Pretty frustrating after all those encounters, but we'll keep our head up and keep after them.
There are stories here at Midwest Whitetail that never get told. If we don't have time to develop the full story, we often just hold on to the details in case something good happens later. That is when we pull them out, dust them off, and lay out the full order of events. Often that something good never happens and we just bury the story without ever telling it. But we aren't burying this one. Instead, we're going to reach back and bring you all the scouting, hunts, and strategies that led to Drake Lamb killing his biggest buck a week ago. Keep in mind that Drake's full-time job is filming and editing hunts. He doesn't get a lot of time behind the bow or gun, making this outcome even more improbable. Here is the whole untold story of Drake's giant CRP buck.
Alright, it is August 22nd and me and the interns are out here. This is a farm I just got permission on 2 days ago, and as you can see, it's all CRP. Big cornfield to the east, big creek over there, thick bedding to the north and the west, so it sets up really well. We're going to get some cameras out. We have no idea what deer are here. We've never stepped foot on this farm, so we're just kind of going to scout it out. Hopefully we can pull some bucks off these cards and have something to hunt here this fall.
Alright, it is the afternoon of October 15th. Tyler and I just got into a new farm that I have not hunted yet. Hopes are high. This place hasn't been hunted in 4 or 5 years that I know of. A lot of super good bedding up to the north and the west of us, so we can see for a mile. We got a huge cornfield, creek bottom behind us, but as of yet, there's no big deer on camera. We're really looking forward to hunting this stand during the rut. I think it's going to be a really good stand, especially once I get this corn out back behind us. So, sweet November. It is November 2nd, and we're down here on this big CRP bottom field. One of the permission farms I've got. We decided to jump in here this afternoon because we checked cameras when we got down this morning and have a smoker of a deer showing up. He showed up, I think, 4 or 5 of the last like 8 days, 3 or 4 different times in daylight. So he's definitely going to be put on the hit list unless the deer were in here tonight after. So I don't know, fingers crossed that that big deer shows up. Well, it is December 29th, and I finally have a buck tag in my pocket again for Iowa. It's been rough sitting out for the last, month and a half, 2 months, but nonetheless, I'm here on this big CRP permission farm that I've got, and I'm in here after one deer in particular. I've been getting pictures of him all year. I think back to October, but I tagged out on the 4th of November, but he showed up right in there daylight all the time, and I think the last daylight picture I have of him when I checked cards was December 2nd, I think. So that was right before the gun season, but I know he made it through gun season because I've been running camera on the south part of this farm, and I've been picking him up here as of late, so I know he's still alive. He's not really showing any daylight activity, which is I kind of expect clear down on that south end, but I'm way up in here on the north end, where I think I've got a 50-50 chance of him bedding up on this ridge where he can see everything. I think I got him clean. So got a west wind. It seems like all the deer bed up here on this ridge and filter out. I've got corn back behind me, so I don't know. I mean, it rained all day yesterday, so I expect good deer movement, but it is pretty windy tonight. But it's been super warm here lately, and I mean, the chances of me seeing this deer is probably pretty slim, but don't know if you don't go. So anyway, that's the deer I'm in here after. There's also another 8-pointer that I encountered. I actually came out here and sat just to sit after I tagged out. I think it was sometime mid-November, but there's a big 8-pointer in here. He's a solid deer that I would probably shoot too. So hopefully one of those 2 deer at least makes an appearance, and I can maybe get a beat on what they're doing. But I don't know. We're gonna settle in and see what happens tonight.
No way. That's him. That's him.
Oh my gosh.
That's the biggest deer I've ever shot. I don't know. I don't think I got it on footage, but he came across the CRP. That's the deer, the one deer that I was in here for. I've had neighbors shooting back there all afternoon. I was just sitting here. I'm just like, well, if you know, you don't. Like I said earlier, I said you don't know if you don't go. And that's the deer I've been in here after all season. Had pictures of him. And just for whatever reason, I saw him out in the CRP, just headed straight at me. And he kind of veered off. I was trying to get the camera on him. He veered off, and he was no further than 30 yards when I shot him. I mean, that's that's insane. I can't believe that. I mean, I knew he's here, but I came in here. We've hunted the stand. I have a stand right here 4 or 5 times this year, and always seen deer, but man, this is insane. I just, I got a wild hair. I finished the show. Bill was gonna hunt, and then he didn't. I finished the show, got rushed out here. I just don't even know what to say, man. That's insane. That's the one deer I was in here after. Whew. All right, it is probably a couple hours after I shot that deer. Got Josh, got Justin on the camera with me, and I ain't gonna waste any time. We're gonna go look at him. He's right over here in the grass. Right in here is where he rolled. Okay. Should be able to see blood here soon. He was pumping. Boom, there he is. Dude, look at this deer. Look at this deer. Oh man. Oh my gosh. I don't even know what to say, man. I mean, that's insane. Biggest deer of my life, hands down. the mass on this thing. He broke off one in here, but I don't even care. That is insane. Well, I got him cleaned up. It's the next day, and I am still on cloud 9. I didn't sleep hardly at all. I'm just extremely blessed to be sitting behind this deer this morning. I mean, the story all started back in the summer. I actually moved down to southern Iowa and got to know some people and got some permission, and luckily got permission on about 4 or 5 different farms. And this particular piece where this deer was on didn't really have anything, any shooters showing up during the summer, and he actually showed up in October, and he was kind of all over the cameras. And I actually killed on another piece of permission ground, my Iowa bow buck. The biggest test was the gun season, and since I tagged out early November, I pretty much had to sit out until December 22nd or 23rd, I think is when the late muzzleloader season started back up. He was still showing up, so I knew there was hope, and I checked the card, and he'd been showing up there the last couple of days, so I knew I was in the game. I knew he was living on that farm. It was just kind of a shot in the dark yesterday. I mean, I went out there, got some editing done quick, and Bill didn't decide to hunt, so I said, whatever, what the heck, I'm gonna go out there and see if I can at least see the deer. And I mean, you guys saw how it happened. It wasn't pretty, normally never is, but man, I'm just at a loss for words at this deer. This is the biggest deer I've ever killed. I mean, just a tank of an old deer. And as you guys can see, it's pretty cloudy. We've got a big front rolling in today, actually. I think me and Bill are gonna go jump in the redneck blind this afternoon. He's still got a tag. I know a lot of other guys still got tags. I know Jared's got a tag, Josh has got a tag, Mike's got a tag. So hopefully we can keep the ball rolling and roll it right into 2020. But man, what a way to end my 2019 season.
I saw the trail cam photos Drake was getting very early, and I have to say, this is one buck that was way bigger in person than he appeared on camera. Congratulations, Drake, on a true giant. Now it is time to catch back up with the rest of our teams. When we last left Jared Mills and Mike Reed, they were chasing a buck they call Marino on a farm they co-own along a good-sized river. I predicted then that one of the two would likely kill the buck before today's episode. Here is a day-by-day, blow-by-blow account of what should have been Marino's final days.
Alright, it's December 30th, and Grant and I are finally settled in here. We're in the same general area that we were last night, targeting Marino and almost having got a shot at Bob. But we've picked a different tree. We're probably 35 yards from the tree we were in last night. I'm not sure how well they're going to move with these high winds, but I think if they are going to move, it's going to be in a spot like this where there's a little bit of protection here in the timber. This property is very flat, so there's not really any topography that's going to block the wind from them. So I think they're going to travel through this timber rather than out in the open CRP. So that's the game plan tonight. I think we have about as equal a shot of seeing Marino as we do Bob. Either one could come through this spot. Just hoping one of them does.
Well, it's Saturday, January 4th. It's about 2:45, and Max and I are set up on the River Bottom Farm, and Jared and I are actually both out here tonight, and we've got both of the exit routes pretty well covered off the peninsula. I think 5 or 6 times we've had Marino going out to the north. I filmed him 3 different times out of that sycamore tree, and Jared had him in the pinch the one night. He picked the pinch, which I would argue is the best spot to get him in bow range. And so I came down here to the south turnip plot to give him a little bit of space and to kind of cover the back door exit. Hopefully one of us can lay eyes on him again. It was good to know that he hasn't shed and he hasn't been killed. I was a little bit worried the other day when the neighbor shot to the north, but it's nice to have a little bit of cool weather, so I'm hoping the movement is good. To say I'm disgusted with myself is an understatement. There's no sign on the ground whatsoever. You know, I've watched the video back about 25 times and there's no evidence that I hit him. That first initial reaction, I think he was just ducking his head under that limb. I checked all the ground where he was standing, and I could see on the video where he went, which trees he went by. There's no sign whatsoever. And this smokeless muzzleloader, it's a 45 cal, and it packs quite the punch. I mean, I have shot many deer with it, and I mean, they never go more than 20 yards. And so that's another reason I think that it was a clean miss. Just no reaction, really. It's not like a regular black powder. I mean, it really puts them down. It's be a tough one to swallow for both me and my wife. She's grinded out this season as much as I have, dealing with the 5 kids at home and letting me come and hunt. And I know she wanted nothing more than for me to fill this last tag. But here we are. Pretty frustrating after all those encounters, but we'll keep our head up and keep after him.
As far as I know, Marino is still alive. I don't think they got him last night, but that story has taken on a life of its own. I've never seen a buck that visible live this long with 2 people hunting him and 1 with a gun. Every day I wake up and go to my computer hoping to find a video blog from Jared or Mike where Marino is actually on the ground. They have 3 more days left before they are done hunting for the season. I still think it will happen. The rest of our stories are tame compared to Mike and Jared's quest. I've been out a few times, but I have to admit that I'm not trying very hard. I've killed a couple of nice bucks this season, so I kind of like the idea of letting the rest of them go another year. Owen Riegler's in the same boat. Owen has been getting his top 2 bucks on camera, but he isn't hunting them hard. Instead, he and his cameraman Joe are trying their very best to shoot an old 8-pointer that has been eluding them for 2 years. Josh Sparks is hunting a couple of old bucks on a farm he is helping to manage, and that hunt could well produce another epic adventure, like Drake's hunt from last week. I think Josh will surprise us with a good one before he is done. This brings us to the end of another week of hunting, and very close to the end of our seasons. Though it will be shortened by business obligations, I believe that this coming week will have more than its share of action. These stories and more will continue to unfold right here every week. We appreciate you joining us on this journey. We will see you right back here again next week for the next episode of Midwest Whitetail, and remember to always dream